I spoke at an event called Know Your Value. Mika Brzezinski puts it together. It's a women's-based event. Before me was Sarah Jessica Parker. I'm not saying this in a braggy way. Sarah Jessica Parker, Martha Stewart, and Bobbi Brown, the makeup artist. They're before me, and then I'm the fat girl, size 22, in the back of the room, right? Coming up next,
Stop.
And I have 25 minutes, and I got my stinking thinking coming in. Boy, they didn't get a standing ovation. They didn't, people barely applauded. If they don't like them, they're never gonna like me. No one even knows who I am. I'm not even famous to that level yet. And I go, Janine, pull your shoulders back. The difference between Superman and Clark Kent is a 2-inch posture difference. Clark Kent, his shoulders are pulled forward. If you we always say pull your shoulders back. That's actually wrong. You're never going to pull your shoulders back. You actually look weird, like some type of
I just pulled my shoulders back. The second you said there's a two-inch difference, I'm like, okay, shoulders back. I'm about to get interrogated. Here we go.
We've been taught wrong. Okay.
All right. What do we do?
If you pull your shoulders back, it's actually uncomfortable, and you look weird. Instead, I want you to think like Tony Stark, right? So Tony Stark has, he has this circle thing.
Oh, yeah, for Iron Man.
Iron Man. He's got this circle orb that keeps him alive on his chest.
Right.
I want you to imagine you have that in the center of your chest.
Okay.
And a laser beam shoots out of it. If that laser beam, based on your posture, is going to hit the ground, then you're being Clark Kent. If you want to be Superman, where the wall meets the ceiling is a confident feeling. So you just want to take that laser beam and lift your chest to where the wall meets the ceiling. Okay. Relax your shoulders. Relax those. Yeah, much better. And as you're walking, you change how you are perceived. So I'm backstage. I'm in the back of the room. I was coming from the back. And I'm after Martha Stewart and Sarah Jessica Parker. And I have my stinking thinking. And you can't be negative more than 17 seconds. After 17 seconds, I give my positivity. I'm amazing. I know cool stuff. I'm going to change their life. People in here are hurting. At least one woman needs to know this, that she's amazing. And I do that. And I go, where the wall meets the ceiling is a confident feeling. And I fire a laser beam right there where that wall meets the ceiling. And I come up for my 25 minutes, and I got the only standing ovation for that conference.
Well, Janine, my mind is still processing. So I want to go back and ask you, you said there are 3 types of people who learn to read body language. What are they?
People who are abused. By the way, that was called an open loop. An open loop is when you give a little bit of information and not the rest, and it makes people riveted and it creates an open loop in their head. We still wonder if, Chandler and Monica are still married, in this pretend world of friends, Did Rachel and Ross ever get married, right? These open loops. So I love that you brought me back to close this loop for people. 1 is kids who are abused in some type of way. 2, people like the Secret Service who are trained every single day to look for the anomalies, to look for what doesn't fit. You would think school teachers and therapists and judges would be good at detecting deception, and they are not. They are
Why?
not. They're not trained every day to what to look for. They don't know. I'll give you a quick sidebar here. There's a hand gesture that turns agreement to disagreement, and no one's ever told us what it is, Mel. And it's the easiest thing. So I say to you, you go, hey, Janine, next time I'm in D.C., let's go to dinner. Right? I don't drink, but maybe you say, let's get iced tea. And I go, okay, Mel, that sounds great. And I nod my head yes. I'm saying yes, but I take my hand and I touch the back of my head at the same time. And I go, yeah, that sounds great, Mel. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, let's get together. Or that's what men tend to do. Women will go to the nape of our neck and we lift our hair up, for those of you who are listening and maybe not seeing us right now. And when someone says yes, and they shake their head yes, but they touch their head at the same time, that's called a high-level pacifier. That's indicating there's something they're uncertain about. So maybe when you say, hey, when I come to town, Janine, let's go out for steak. And I go, okay, yeah, that sounds good, but I just became a vegan. Or I do intermittent fasting and I don't eat 3 days a week now. It's just telling you my definite yes actually has a nonverbal maybe. There's a problem. So I say it's like you opened a file cabinet in a file of something I'm not telling you, this top secret file. And all we need to do is say, maybe I'm wrong here. It seems to me there's something you're uncertain about. Well, I just became vegan, Mel. Can we get something vegan?
Wow.
But no one taught us this. This is why judges and teachers and therapists don't know, because no one's teaching us, we're not teaching this emotional intelligence aspect in schools, sadly. And so one of my big things is I speak to schools for free. I do Zoom calls for schools, middle schools and high schools and colleges for free, because I want human beings to know what I know so we can, I'm all about kindness and love and positivity. So the third group, people who are abused.
Fear is real, but I am going to share a secret weapon that I have used for years to beat every single fear that used to stop me. Now, first, before we get into this secret weapon, I just want to cover a few facts about fear, what it is, what it isn't, and some things that you may not know about fear. So first thing, fear is a physical state in your body that is exactly the same as excitement. Let me say that again. Fear and excitement are the exact same physical state. Your heart races. You might sweat a little bit. You might feel tightening in your chest. You might feel a pit in your stomach. You have a surge of cortisol. It's basically the way that your body goes into a hyper-aware state because it's readying for action. Now, what's the difference between fear and excitement? Really simple. The only difference between fear and excitement is what your brain is doing as your body is all agitated. If you're excited, your brain's going, oh wow, this is going to be so cool to ride this roller coaster. If you're afraid, your brain's going, no way, there's no way I'm doing that, this is dangerous, get out of there, don't do that. It's saying something different. So what's critical about understanding this is that we're going to use the fact that your mind is either working for you for excitement or against you with fear to your advantage. And I'll tell you about it in just a minute, how you're going to do that. So what do you do? What do you do when you're about to go talk to your boss and you feel afraid? What do you do when you have to get on a plane and you're actually terrified of flying? What do you do if you got to give a presentation and you are afraid of public speaking? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to use a strategy, the same one that I use, that has helped me beat every single fear and turned me into somebody that is terrific when it comes to a high-stress situation. This is how you do it. You're going to use my 5-second rule in combination with what I call an anchor thought, and that is going to reframe what your mind is doing so that your mind goes from feeling agitation and making you afraid to reframing it from agitation to excitement. It works like magic. Now, I have used this technique for years, literally for years. And one of the ways that I want to introduce you to it is I want to take you backstage. I want to take you backstage to a speech that I delivered this year. And what you're going to see is you're going to see me behind, the major set. I'm about to walk out. You can kind of hear the crowd roaring. My introductory video is playing. My body is in a state of arousal. I am literally, my heart is racing, my arms are sweating. Like you're going to see this. I'm going to tell you about it. And you're going to watch me use this same technique I'm going to teach you to reframe my nerves into excitement. Check this out. All right, I'm about to go on stage. There are 7,000 people out there, and it's so exciting because what they don't know is they're about to learn the 5-second rule, and their lives will never be the same again. Now, I got to tell you, my heart is racing. My armpits are sweating. I have the exact same physiological feeling as when I'm afraid, but I'm not afraid. I'm excited. Excitement and fear is the exact same thing in your body. It's just what your brain calls it. Here's a trick that's proven by science that I use every time I speak. When I start to sweat, when I start to have butterflies, when I start to have my heart race, I say, I'm excited. I'm excited to get out there. I'm excited to talk to these people. I'm excited to share the 5-second rule. And what that does is it sends a message to my brain that tells my brain why my body's all agitated and excited. And that way, I don't feel afraid. Remember, excitement and fear, exact same thing in your body. The only difference is what your brain calls it. Go get them. Now, I want to give you one more example, just to make sure that you really get how you can use this. And while we're on the topic of sleep, I've got another little change that will make a huge difference in the quality of sleep and your ability to fall asleep. I call this the 5-10-20 rule. I'm going to break it down in a minute, but this relates to all of this research that's out there right now about getting light exposure first thing in the morning, and how if you get up and you get outside right away and you get exposure in your eyeballs right away, it resets your circadian rhythm, and that helps you sleep at night. Now, all this research is super duper exciting. But the second that you hear, okay, the moment you get up in the morning, one of the best things that you can do in order to get a better night's sleep at night is to get yourself outside and get those UVs into your eyeballs. If you're like me and you hear this research, you want to do it, but then you immediately have questions. You're like, how long do I need to be out there? What if it's raining? What if it's cloudy? What if I can't get outside? What do I do? How much light is too much light? How am I supposed to remember all this stuff? Simple. All you need to remember is that the research says in order to sleep better at night, I got to bank some sunlight first thing in the morning. I got that. That's why you're going to think of the 5, 10, 20 rule. Because when I hear 5, 10, 20, I think about getting cash at a bank. And when you go to a bank and you get cash, they give it to you in 5, 10s, and 20s. And I remember when I was younger and I was waitressing and I was a bar back, there would be nights where I would be the one closing down the restaurant and ending the shift. And I would have to tally all the cash and close it all out. And then they give you this big envelope that you zip. And then you go to the bank and you drop it into the night deposit box. And so 5, 10, 20, which is what was in that envelope. So when I would drop it off into the night deposit box, that was what was going into the bank. And for you and me, we got to bank either 5, 10, or 20. And here's how this works. If it's sunny outside, you need to be outside for 5. You got to bank 5 minutes. If it's cloudy, can you guess how much time you need? Bingo. Look how smart you are. 10. That's right. Give yourself 10 minutes outside if it's cloudy. And if it's rainy, how long do you think you need to be out on your porch? Boom. You got it. 20. That's the 5, 10, 20 rule. Sunny 5, cloudy 10, rainy 20. Or sit next to your window for 20 minutes. That's it. That's how you remember this research, that you got to bank UV light first thing in the morning to reset the circadian rhythm. And that helps you get a better night's sleep.
And I'll go to the back of the room and I used to say, oh, look at this person. They're important, or they think they're important. And everyone would laugh. Now I go, look at this person. They're important, or they're on their way to becoming important. On the break, make sure all of you get a picture with this person, because someday you may be working for them. And that lens shift of I am a healer, my humor is used for healing, goes back to our words, create the seeds that then create what I believe about myself, then changes my body language and changes what I think. And so it's constantly going there. Bookend.
You got to go.
Handshakes. Bookend.
I'm not going to be responsible for you
I know.
being late.
I have
Janine
30
Driver.
seconds. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Mel. I love you. Thanks for changing the world. If you stuck around and listened to this whole interview, I talked fast. I'm a Boston girl. Please rewatch it and listen. And thanks, Mel, for doing what you're doing. I love you. You're changing the world.
I love you too.
And I'm one of the people you've impacted.
Oh, well, you've absolutely impacted me too. I love you. I give you an air hug when you arrive, so I'm going to bookend it with an air hug back.
Bye,
Go
everybody.
kill it today
I love
on
you. Be
stage.
safe. Be kind to yourself.
Bye. Interestingly, my biggest takeaway, I guess there were 2, and I would love to hear your takeaway from this. You know what? Now there's 3, actually, because I loved the way that she taught us all about steepling in a meeting and how to use that to regain power and exert dominance without saying a word when you're being talked over, particularly for women. Because I had always been told that if somebody's interrupting you in a meeting, keep talking and don't let them interrupt you. But I actually like the confidence of kind of putting the steeple up kind of high, like a giant triangular middle finger. Thanks, Bob. And leaning back like, okay, I'll wait while the hot air comes out of your mouth. And then doing that right eye to right eye, staring at your forehead, kind of, you know how your dog often does that? You know how I'm leaning back. I was showing dominance. That was one thing that really made me go, I'm going to try that. Second thing, I just absolutely love. Good to know. Good to know. How liberating that you don't have to waste your energy defending yourself, explaining yourself, or reacting to somebody's criticism, somebody's complaint, somebody's anything that you don't really care about. It's just a good to know. Good to know. Boy, I like that one. That was a really big one. Let's say that you're in a situation where you would really love to get a better job. I mean, who doesn't want to get paid more? Who doesn't want to work somewhere where they feel valued and they're having fun and they're making a difference? If you think you can't get a better job, are you going to apply? Nope. Are you going to do the work on your resume if you think, well, I can't get a better job? Nope.